Welcome to Deep Thought, Self-Perception. And this is what I'm going to call a stream of consciousness podcast, right? Because I didn't really have a specific thing, but you know what? I'm in the, I'm at the gym yesterday, right? And, anybody who's serious about lifting, man, is going to use some type of strap or weight gloves or something like that. Just mainly for grip. Right? Because if you lifting, your hand, you really lifting, you grabbing a bar, especially like free weights, right? You can your grip can slip or it can burn your hands, something like that. And it's highly recommended, especially if you lifting like real heavy or something. Like some people do it without it, but anybody who's like really serious into that weightlifting and stuff, they're gonna have something, right? So I had my gloves on that I could barely get into. I'm like, shit. These are extra larges too. And I started thinking about the fact that I have to wear extra large gloves. And even then, I got to force them on sometime. Like they don't, I'm like, shit. Because it's even depending on the cut of the glove, whether I can get it on. Like the best gloves I can wear extra large are usually like those spandex type of workout type of gloves. They go on easy enough, right? And even like when I got to get cleaning gloves or something, like, rubber gloves to clean, I always got to find extra large. Because I tried large one time. I couldn't get that joint on, right? Now, here's a funny thing. I'm wearing extra large gloves, and really, I'm really starting to see if they got XXL gloves, right? Because here's a funny thing. When I look at my hands, I think of my hands as small. I do. I personally think of my hands as myself as having small hands. I'm looking at them one time, right? I was looking at them one time, and I was just like, man, I got these baby hands and whatnot. That's what I actually thought. Now, contrast that. I'm getting some gloves or something. I always got to get the XL. And then even, like I said, depending on the cut, I can't fit them. It's self-perception is a trip, right? Self-perception is a trip, right? Because even like anybody see a picture of me, see I'm a big guy, but I don't feel like a big guy or anything. I really don't. Never did. Because, well, I got some big ass motherfuckers in my family, like tall. Like the only person that called me shorty or something is my father. He's 6'2" though, right? Like the men on my father's side were just some tall motherfuckers. So, I think I got the stockier dudes, shorter and stockier dudes, one from my mother's side, right? But that's for the perception. Now, it's not, just to be clear, it's not a negative perception. It's just I'm like actually comfortable with anything. I don't agonize over anything. But it's funny how you may see yourself and everybody else see you. Like I would have people call me big guy, big Rom, whatever. And I'd be like, I ain't that big. What are you talking about? Seriously. I remember even back when I was like I weigh over 200 now. I remember back when I was running all the time and everything. And I was, can't get into the exact circumstances of it, but it was about 190 and stuff. And I remember some other dude, he was saying, man, you big as a boxer and all of that. And I'm like, I ain't that big. Because to me, I had lost a lot of weight compared to what I was used to, right? But, it's self-perception, and it's interesting. And I'm using myself as an example, but then people could have self-perception issues about how attractive they are or, depending on where they compare themselves. Like I have a dear friend, young lady, who could probably be a model. Because she's very pretty, and she's about 5'9", right? But she don't see that herself as attractive. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If you in the right place, you'd be on the cover of Vogue or something. And I ain't just telling her that, but our self-perception is interesting because we'll see ourselves as one way, usually negative. But there's another side to that. There's another side when people see themselves as positive, right? But usually negative, so we don't understand that. So if somebody say, oh, you're gorgeous, or you big and musky, you be like, nah, not me. And it's not self-effacing. You just don't see yourself that way, you know? That's why, you know, I'll tell guys I'm coaching in relationships, even women, is like, you'd be surprised. Try to get an idea how people really see you. Because we don't see ourselves. Even you could be dropped in, you could be, like I've known some very beautiful women, and they'll look in the mirror and they're like, I ain't all that or this. But one thing with that, that's their self-perception, you know? But then there's the other side where somebody might be, you know, the mass of people see them as average, but they see themselves as all that. Now, the issue with that is when people do, they might not deal with their issues, right? They might not, because they'll think they don't have any issues. You know, everything's cool. Like I knew this woman in college, right? And she was a big girl. She was a big girl. She was tall, had a little bit of extra weight on her, right? But these other dudes used to like go in on her. And you know, she was kind of arrogant about it, but she thought she was one way, but they saw something else. They had a derogatory name for her, right? But, you know, but she still carried herself with that arrogance and everything, and it's just like that's self-perception. I'm gonna tell you what, it's really hard sometimes because we only see ourselves, and we, you know, sometimes we comparing ourselves to like a certain thing, right? You know, and not thinking like, oh wait, maybe you will compare ourselves to a small thing. Like I said, my example again, I'm thinking, you know, I'm comparing myself to the other men in my family, right? And then not thinking, oh, but everybody else is seeing me as big, because I'm like, you know, just a little guy, right? But then everybody else, man, Rom, you big as shit, you huge as shit. Actually, then that's actually been hurtful for me, because if I there's been times I put on a bit of extra weight or something, I don't realize it because I'm comparing myself to even bigger dudes. It's funny to me, so I'm thinking everything cool because I'm standing next to some 6'5", 300-pound dude. Actually, I had some friends like that, like big as fuck. Look like they need to be playing pro football, so I'm walking next to them. You know, and I've always been that because I'd be the type hanging out with jocks or basketball players or something. So you had that perception. But like I said, it didn't bother me. But then it would shock me, like, other people would look at me and be like, Rom, you're actually taller than average or bigger than average, right? But that's that self-perception thing. And it's kind of funny. It's funny to me because we don't see ourselves. We don't. And like I said, sometimes it can be hurtful because we might be all that to everybody but don't feel it, or we think we all that and really obnoxious to other people, right? And like I said, the dynamic is interesting. Now, like I said, with me, I was always comfortable with it. I never agonized over like, oh, I gotta get tall or I gotta get anything, right? It was just is, because my thing is always like, I'm good. I ain't sit around thinking about it, but you know, it's interesting. Sometimes you don't know. You're almost like bull in a china shop. You don't even know you the bull in the china shop. You just knocking down stuff and you ain't realizing, hey, I'm a bull. Maybe I need to like turn it down a notch or something, right? So, yeah, and like I said, I call this a stream of consciousness video. That's when I'm gonna just flow with it. I'm gonna put that in the title too. A stream of consciousness video. It's amazing. On another note, I do these XL gloves. I mean, like, man, like if you're getting rubber gloves or something, mostly what they sell is like large gloves. I gotta go like to a home. I gotta drive. I can't go to my local grocery store because they just sell regular. I gotta go find like one of those like home improvement stores and stuff where they got everything, man. But Anyway, right? That's it for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.